Hi everybody, it's Tuesday, October 28, 2008. Thanks for stopping by. I'd like to talk a little bit today about the elections and the economy and what's going on these days. Now, we all know that there's a big economic downturn going on. The stock market actually rebounded today by 889 points. And the housing market seems to be doing a lot or a little better. Whether or not this has to do with the injection of capital into Wall Street, I don't know. It's possible it is, it's possible it's totally unrelated. We'll just have to wait and see. But right now, unless this upturn continues, which I hope to God it does, but I'm not at all convinced yet. If this upturn does not continue and the economy continues to tumble, then we could be looking at the economic collapse that Ron Paul has been warning us about for this entire year. Ever since the presidential race started, he's been talking about this. And they might be able to prop up the system a little bit longer with their interventions, or they might not. I don't know. But at any rate, the underlying problem was very correctly pointed out by Ron Paul. He said at the very beginning of the race, hey, look, we're headed for trouble. Here's what's going to happen. Here's how we can fix it. Here's what's going to happen if we don't fix it. And people have tended to discount what he says and to totally ignore him and his message and to think of him as irrelevant, what he says as irrelevant. And it's probably because of the media. The media, controls what people think to a large part, especially when it comes to politics. The media, they tell you who is the mainstream candidate and who is the fringe candidate. They tell you who's relevant, who's irrelevant. And they don't just say it, they hammer it home every chance they get. It's very concerted effort, very repetitive, very disciplined. Nobody strays from the party line, from the accepted dogma. And, if you say things enough times, it's pretty certain that people are eventually going to believe it. And I think that's what happened. I think, after enough time of being castigated and being ridiculed, people like Ron Paul and Dennis Kucinich and Mike Gravel and Ralph Nader, who are very intelligent men and very competent, very principled, very honest, but unfortunately very independent, so therefore incompatible with our corrupt political system. These people are, they are routinely and repeatedly downplayed by the media, and it shapes people's opinions, But the important thing to remember is that Ron Paul predicted what's happening right now. And I want you to think about that. I'm not here to say I told you so or to gloat about anything, because this is the last thing I want to see happen. But I'd like for people to just think a little bit about the fact that Ron Paul predicted this a long time ago, and maybe we should take his words a little bit more seriously now that his predictions are coming true. And hopefully hopefully the economy will somehow pick back up, somehow recover. But I don't know how likely that is, and especially not in the long term. It might happen in the short term, but in the long term, the system is too corrupt to continue to work. We have to live within our means. We have to produce instead of consume. You can't quit your job and live off credit cards for the rest of your life, and every time you max out a credit card, just go get another credit card and pay for your credit card bills from one credit card with another credit card and keep doing that forever. And that's what our government is doing. If you live that kind of life, you know the bills are going to come due. You know that eventually your credit is going to be bad and there's going to be people taking your property away. You don't have to wonder about it. You know it. And that's what our government is doing. So it seems like a no-brainer to me that things are going to get bad and things are going to get a lot worse unless we fix what's really wrong. And that's not like fiddling around with the tax codes or fiddling around with the budget. It's what Ron Paul said. Get rid of the overseas empire, end the wars, end the occupation of 130 countries with 700 military bases all over the world. I mean, that stuff costs money. And there's been people talking about how the Iraq War is one of the things that has bankrupted us. The Iraq War will end up probably costing about $3 trillion, and we just don't have it. So, it's time to start thinking about not just fiscal policy that makes sense, but also, what we're doing to other people in the world and how we could be a positive force in the world instead of a negative force. How we could be an example to other countries instead of a colonizer and occupier and exploiter of other countries. I think that would work a little bit better. Now, one other thing I want to say about the election is, I despise John McCain and Sarah Palin because they both seem so corrupt and idiotic, and they're pandering to the lowest common denominator and talking about nonsense. And they support war. They support everything that George Bush has done openly. And I despise them. I can't stand them. Barack Obama, I find more palatable, but I don't have any illusions about him. He has a nice message, and I would hope that the American people would go for that message, but I don't believe for one instant that message is real. He's not going to be any different than George Bush when it comes down to it. Well, he might be a slight bit different. I'll give him that. Just like Noam Chomsky said, there's a slight bit of difference, and you should vote Democratic just because you will come out slightly better in the long run, but not a whole lot better. So, Barack Obama is not really the man of change. It would be nice symbolically if he was elected. As a practical matter, it doesn't matter who is elected because nothing's going to change. But there is something exciting going on in this election, and that is that Cindy-Sheehan is running for Nancy Pelosi's seat. And that would be a huge victory for the people of this country if she could somehow win that seat and boot Nancy Pelosi out of the House. That would be a huge victory for democracy, because Cindy-Sheehan is just an ordinary person like us. That's a liability in one way because she has a lot to learn, but it is a advantage in another way because she's not corrupted, she's honest, she's an activist, she really has issues that she cares about, and she's anti-war. And that's a good thing. That's what we need right now. So I hope everyone will vote and advocate Cindy-Sheehan. Thanks for watching.